Well, here we are. We finally did it. We gave the world
Finally.
what it needed. Another podcast out of 4 million.
Yeah, two more white guys with the mics in front of their faces,
I think the
giving
world,
our opinion unsolicited.
speaking of white guys, this whole BLM thing, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good way just to get us like manually suppressed by the algorithm the
Well,
second we start.
I don't understand the whole thing. What's all the uproar? I mean, baby lives do matter.
Oh my God. I just
I've
leave.
had this one ready. I've had that ready for weeks now.
That's
I've been
that's a you
so ready to start the podcast off with that for
that's a
weeks
you
now.
what were you expecting me to just run with it and
I
this
just
just
didn't know
becomes like
wherever you were going to go with it. I didn't
you
matter
think
where.
you want to get on the Fox News podcast network? That's the
God, absolutely not. I want to stay clear and far away from any fucking media. Fuck the media. Fuck all that
yeah.
bullshit. But yeah, we're here. We finally gave the world another podcast. Oh, fun stuff we got going on here. Um, dude, Elon Musk buying Twitter. What are your thoughts?
Dude, it is so fucking amazing to go on Twitter right now. It is like this is the most fun I've had on Twitter in so long. Have you heard about Mastodon?
No, I haven't heard about
So
Mastodon.
so basically everyone is you know how like a bunch of people got banned from Twitter. They went over to fuck whatever like the conservative one was. I forget what it was called.
Oh,
They
like Telegram or whatever the fuck it is.
no, yeah, it's they've tried to
Truth
make some other
Social.
Twitter. Yeah, they tried to make some other Twitter, and it was so funny because everybody was like, "Oh, now this is going to turn into like a cesspool of like an echo chamber of people saying the same shit." And now that Elon Musk bought Twitter, now everyone that like hates Elon Musk, and it's like you can imagine who that is all going is all they started their new platform, and it's called Mastodon, which is like essentially just like another Twitter. And it's actually really crazy because it's decentralized and it's based on like an open blockchain format with a non-profit like business structure, and it's based out of some server in fucking Germany. And I think it got like 750,000 signups over the past 48 hours ever since like Elon. You saw what he did with the blue checks, like what he was saying about all that.
Yeah, I was all confused about that. $8 a month to get
Yeah.
verified. So like, I don't know. Seems like some
So
bullshit.
well, it's smart because not only is Twitter not a profitable, it's not that they're not a profitable company, but compared to like the market share they have versus like like anything Meta has or
Yeah.
Snapchat or whatever, they're not that fucking that. They're not that profitable. So this is not only a way to like profit incentivize the company, to, for like shareholder interests, but he's making it a way to where he's like decentralizing the like system of like who has a voice on Twitter. Screenshot. So basically anyone that pays $8 a month can get a blue check mark.
Yeah, I
So
saw that. Oh, this is interesting.
yeah. So literally anybody, like, so if you already have a blue check mark, so like I saw Stephen King was going back and forth with Elon, like Stephen King will have to pay $8 a month. And then I saw, dude, AOC was tweeting like it's crazy how like this billionaire is like instituting his brand of free speech by charging you $8 a month. And then Elon just quote tweets it and goes, "Thank you for your opinion. Now give me $8."
I don't. It's such a weird, dude. It's just such a weird time that we live in with that. Like, I mean, it is kind of crazy that now we have this billionaire in charge of this social media network. That, like, I don't know if it was any better the way it was. I don't know if it's any better now. I guess time will tell. But like, it is kind of crazy to think about it. It's bug.
Dude, there's a gnat. There's a gnat fly. It's
Dude,
like he's orbiting around me.
tell me how gnats are the most annoying bug in the world. There's no
Dude,
other bug that's annoying.
I was just having a conversation with some dude I work with about how gnats, like per body weight, have to be the strongest. You know how people talk about how chimpanzees are like the strongest animal, like per body, like per pound of body weight? Dude, it's the fucking gnat. I have been like Hercules bitch slapping these gnats for the past week, and they just eat that shit. Like, think about the pounds per square inch of my hand in surface area compared to this gnat. Like, I'm talking about clean as day. I'm smacking these gnats and they just eat it and like keep
You
flying.
don't think it's just
Like, bro,
another gnat?
no, they're not. I
You
watch the
see them
gnat.
get up, you watch them
I'm watching the
fly
gnat.
down and then get back up and fly away.
Yeah, dude, yes, it literally like they're too stupid to know what happened. Like literally completely unfazed, just continue orbiting my head. And they like almost know what pisses people off. Like, you know what I mean? Like they go for like your nose and your mouth. Like Yeah, when I left for Hula, I left one jalapeno in the garbage disposal that I forgot to shred, and now there's like a fucking colony of gnats.
They go for that fruit. They like that fruit shit. They like fruity
So,
people too. I guess that's you.
is a jalapeno a fruit?
I would think it's a vegetable, but like that's what they normally. I always thought gnats went for fruit because I remember as a kid having like a cup of grape juice, and they would always try to buzz their way into that and like fly
Wasn't that
around
a
in
fruit
the.
fly?
No, because it's not. It's a different. Well, yeah, there are fruit flies too, but I'm saying like gnats. I've always seen them. Like that's what I grew up knowing. Gnats go for like fruits.
Yeah,
Because it was too
I
big to
don't.
be a. It was too small to be a fruit fly. I
That's
think.
true.
Although I'm not no bug expert. What is the term for a bug? What's the
What?
term for a
Oh,
bug expert?
fuck. I know it, but I can't. What's like that? What's that? Like little bit from Disney Channel? I think it's from Hannah Montana, where she puts like the oranges on her face, and she's like, "I'm a fruit fly." Buzz. Is that
Never in my
you?
life did I
You
know
know,
that.
you know,
I did not know that.
you didn't
Yeah,
watch Hannah
I
Montana,
don't know how you know that. You're like the last person I think would know about Hannah Montana.
dude. I know way too much about Hannah Montana. You know Jackson from that creepy brother she had that like
Yeah.
looked a little like on the you know what. He apparently he was like apparently he was like 43 when that show was being recorded
No, there's
playing.
no way.
Dude, I swear to God, look up how old Jackson from Hannah Montana was while the show was being recorded. He was at least in his late 30s. And he was like they had him as like we Disney Channel always does that with like they'll be like, "Oh, this is a show about high school." And then Zac Efron's in it and he's like 27 years old and like on 300 milligrams of D-ball like about to rip out of his fucking shirt.
All right.
Yeah, Jackson from
All right.
Hannah
We're working
Montana.
through the kinks here.
Dude, bro, he's 45
So
and that
now he's
show.
45.
Well,
That's
bro,
not
do the math. Look up when
during
Hannah Montana ended.
during Montana. He was
Dude, I was
29-year-old playing a 16-year-old.
when it
That
started.
is, yeah,
When
that's
it
what I'm saying.
started.
All right, that's a little, yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane. So that means,
that
if
show went on
he,
for like 7 years.
yeah, it's saying 2006 or 2011. So he ended up being 34 when it.
It's like that meme where it's like, "What's up, kids?" You know what I mean? Like, what's up, fellow children?
How old was Hannah during Hannah Montana?
She was younger, but at least she like looked the part almost. Like, how
How
old was
old was
Hannah?
Hannah
And
Montana? Hannah Montana.
Miley. See, yeah, I was a 14-year-old middle school student who appeared normal. Oh, that's like what she's supposed to be though.
Yeah,
She's
so
like
she was
16 or
young. That is
18.
a little
Regard.
creepy,
Miley
but
was 13 when Hannah debuted in the
a
first.
little creepy.
But yeah, that's like High School Musical. If you go back and watch that as an adult, like it's literally fucking creepy because I look at high schoolers now being like not in high school, and I'm like, bro, did I look like that when I was in high school?
Oh, none of us looked like that. Like the expectations of that shit. It
No.
was creating false expectations from day one, dude. They had these guys that were like dunking and shit, and it was just like
Oh,
Zac
dude,
Efron.
that's what I'm
Like
saying.
Zac Efron wasn't as ripped as he is now, but he still looked like way better looking than any person I knew at the time when that came out.
Dude, I just saw he got Columbus or whatever it's called. Do you know what that
I
is?
have no idea what that is.
I think it comes from when you do too much HGH. You know that belly that like you know that thing that Joe Rogan has whenever he takes his shirt off to try to like flex on people during the pod, and he's got like that. It's almost like a perma gut, but it's not like it's like a jacked gut. Look up Zach. We're just doing way too much Google search. Pull
No,
up
we got it.
Zac Efron Columbus, or it's like Palumbo fucking something. But he's dude, he's got like a what looks like a turtle shell on his stomach right now, and it's from doing so much fucking like D ball and HGH.
Oh my god, it comes up
Bro,
like no, like.
yeah, Palumbolism. Look at that, bro. But go full screen with the
Oh my god, that's him right now. Dude, he is
dude. Yeah,
like, what
uh,
is he training for?
just movies, bro. Like he's
He looks like he
constantly
could be
going on.
Ford's dad. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's bad. That's from
Oh,
HGH. Yeah, look at that. Yeah,
the
more
Iron
plates, more
Claw.
dates.
Oh, he
Did
plays a
a
wrestler. Oh, okay.
yeah, more plates, more dates. Did a video on it about his like palumbolism and like identified his stack and shit. But he's been on and off the roids for a minute now.
I mean, they all are. Isn't that the case?
Oh yeah, it's
You
like
know
that.
who one of the funniest things during the pandemic was Chris Hemsworth Thor fucking coming out with his Sentry fitness app, and it's him like, I'm gonna share these tips that I do. I do these things, twice a day for 15 minutes and blah blah blah. And like everyone I knew had the app. I got the app because I mean I needed something to like. It was at least like I didn't think I was gonna be fucking Thor, but like I knew that like oh at least I'm getting like some type of like workouts that I'd like for at home use that I would never get otherwise. And I got it for like the free month trial, but dude, that was insane. Like people were downloading it left and right for this like workout program. Something it's insane. It had something like 70,000 downloads in like the first month or million. I mean, like
That's
it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
It's like step one, take Trembolone. Step two,
Yeah,
well, because what's that other Marvel? You probably know this better because you're a Marvel
the
nerd.
Marvel nerd.
What is that? You know that movie where that skinny Indian dude, that like Bollywood actor
Oh
played like
yeah, 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 yeah. The
dude, and he
Eternals.
got like yeah.
What's his name? The comedian. I know who you're talking about. Anyways, regardless, people probably
Well, he got like diced as fuck, like looked like bro, like human specimen
yeah,
after looking like a Big Bang Theory character before. And
literally.
he went on, it was like a 6 month transformation, and he goes on, he's like, yeah, I just ate chicken and rice and I went to the gym. And I'm like, bro, nope, like all these 6 month actor transformations, and there'll always be like these Hollywood fitness trainers that come out. And it's like 6 months you can look like this. It's like, bro, no human being anatomically could ever look like that
Yeah,
without fucking
it was Camille. Camille.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, he got ripped. He got ripped.
Yeah. He went from can I get a hug to
Let me smash you. Let's show the transformation here. It's gotta come up.
the Kumail
Transfer,
Nanjiani. It's that first picture on
transformation diet is what comes up.
yeah,
I can't believe that. I was low eating carbs. Yeah,
low carb eating. Yeah. In
look,
six
look
months.
at the little skinny arms. That looks like me right now.
Dude, I was equally as skinny as that guy probably
Oh,
six months ago.
he looks like Sylvester Stallone, bro.
Dude, I've been training like a madman for 6 months, dude, and I do not fucking look like that. Like that is not like
But you haven't cut yet.
I'm
Not
cutting
saying
right
you
now,
don't look
but
like that.
no,
like,
dude.
but like you haven't cut yet. I don't know.
I am right now, but absolutely nobody cares about this. I can promise you that.
No, I mean, what do you mean? You don't think people else out there are working out and shit?
No, I don't think our target audience is gonna be like the fucking gym bro
Our target
community.
audience on episode 1. I despise that word that just came out of your mouth.
Yeah,
Despise
all
it.
of our
Go
two
ahead, go drink
listeners,
your
let me know.
diet Dr. Kelp and get back to me in a second.
Yeah, no, that's one thing we didn't talk about is we didn't say a name for this podcast because I don't think we've been toying with the Layover
We have
podcast.
no name. We don't need no name. We are a name among the nameless. Is what we are.
No, we need a name.
Named among the nameless. That's it right there.
The
Um,
nameless podcast. Just another podcast.
just your average podcast.
The podcast.
Two white men and a mic.
Yeah,
um, I'm not that worried about the name of our podcast. Yeah, whenever it comes out, it comes out. I mean, who cares? Um, dude, I saw the most horrendous thing I think I've ever seen on my life on my Twitter. Let's just safe to say whoever retweeted it is have been unfollowed. They will not be followed again. I feast your eyes on this. I'm not even gonna play. I can't play it. That's how bad it was. This dude, I was like in awe when I was like, excuse me. Someone retweets it. It's some fucking OnlyFans girl, and I'm like, oh boy. And I'm scrolling by it, and she lubes up a pumpkin.
dude.
Dude, it fucks the stem of the pumpkin, and I was like, and unfollow.
Every day we stray farther from God's light.
I was like, what? I just can't think of anything like would make you want to do. There's no about a money. Like I can't. What is your audience with that? Who are you attracting? Pumpkin lovers? People who
Dude,
love all.
you'd be surprised. I think people are just so depraved and hedonistic that at this point they're just like soulless and like I mean
Do you think it has
I
to
but
do with like people like so much porn out there, and then they just get like, what's the next thing
these
I can get
these
into?
yeah,
They're
that's
like,
exactly what
they're
it
like,
is. It's
this girl fucking herself with a pumpkin sounds pretty nice.
At this point, they just want to feel something. You know what I mean? Like people are people are just people are just so nut. They're just like zombied. Like
That's not me. That's so fucking.
dude, they're on so many like antidepressants and Adderall mixed in with their fucking and just like high as fuck. They're just like, yeah, I might as well watch like the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, that's a weird thing that's not talked about is like the amount of just prescription types of drugs that are being pumped in. I mean, it is talked about, but it's kind of like it is and isn't. It's talked about on the non-mainstream things, but like the amount of prescription drugs just pumped into the system right now of what you're saying, like it's and it's two ends of the spectrum. It's like people on meth and then people on antidepressants, and then they're like just out there in public and they can buy
Or both.
and they can just yeah, or both, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they can just legally buy anything they want, and there's issues with that, but I don't want to get into that shit. But
Yeah, well, really crazy. I not to get into this more, even though I'm about to. I actually read a study literally probably like 6 hours ago about how there were two control groups, or there were two groups. One was like the control group where they were administered antidepressants, but then there were no external environmental stimuli changes. So essentially, just like pharmacological changes with like their prescription, and then the second group had like similar like situations going in. The other group had no pharmacological changes at all, but
okay,
environmental
for our
changes.
dumb audience, what's the pharmacological change? What's the
Just like taking pharmaceutical drugs affecting like your body's, chemistry.
okay?
So essentially, just like putting something in your body that changes the chemistry of your body. So the first group, there's a control group, and then the first group had antidepressants, and then the second group had changes in environmental and external stimuli. So essentially, like they added like exercise into their
Mhm.
regimen, and then they had like healthy eating habits, whatever the fuck, and then they measured percentage changes against the control group and the external stimuli group. They saw absolutely no changes in the antidepressant group without external stimuli, and then the second group had like major changes. And there's been a ton of shit that replicated that, which pretty much basically just means like, hey, like, yeah, we can, drug you the fuck up, but if you don't do anything else,
Yeah, it
you're
doesn't really help.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've always kind of thought that it's just like there's things you got to do to like help yourself, and like everyone in fucking America wants to just take the fucking easy way, and it's like give me this, give me that, and it's like that's just not how it works. Like if you think that's just gonna like it's gonna change because of a pill, like definitely not. Like all, it's just the same thing with like if you get a lot of money, like the not saying everyone doesn't want money, like obviously, but what I'm saying with what I mean is that like you whoever you are when you don't have money and then you get more money, it just exemplifies who you are. Like it just exemplifies it. It just amplifies it more. So if you're a depressed, lonely fucking person and you get $1 million or $1 billion and you're like, this is gonna change my life. No, you're still gonna be lonely and fucking depressed because you just haven't worked on yourself or amplified yourself in any matter.
Yeah, I know it's like luckily it's the first episode and no one will be listening, but I mean most of it stems from the fact that like you just hate your life. Like and whether it's justified or not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're fucking like if you're bummed the fuck out, it's probably not because like there's such a small percentage of people where it's something where it's like, like oh my brain is just fucked up and I can't. It's like no, it's like you probably look around and you're like, oh, this shit around me sucks, so I feel like shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. No, there's a podcast I listen to like every. Honestly, this is one of my favorite podcasts. Is with Naval Ravikant. It's when he like went on Rogan, and I listen to that one like literally every 2 or 3 months. I just pop it on again because it's just so chock full of information. Like I take something away
Who?
every time. It's Naval Ravikant. He's like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
bro.
he's a dope guy.
I was just about to order his book. I forget what it's called. It's like the somethings of Naval. Like I've had it recommended to me. So he's a weird follow on Twitter too. Like
He's
he
awesome.
is do you
Cryptic.
follow him on Twitter?
I do.
Yeah, he's
I love him. I love his tip.
dude, he's so fucking smart, but like such a weird fucking guy. Like in a good way, but like a
No, yeah.
weird guy.
He has like a whole thing on like you can teach yourself to be happy, and that's like very controversial nowadays. But
Oh yeah.
like
That's
that's
the
the
best
easiest.
quote. He's like, if you were so smart, how come you can't figure out how to be happy? He's like, you
Yeah.
think you're so smart, but you can't figure out how to be happy.
Right.
And you're like,
And it just comes down to like small minor changes that you start doing day in day out, and next thing you know you're like, oh shit, I actually like where I'm at. It's with anything really. It's like growing your business, working on your content, working on this, like I don't know, it just comes down to like consistency and like slowly doing it here and there. Now like the idea of getting consistent, that's where people get hairy. Like that's what like most people struggle with is like, how do I become consistent? That's where you got to figure out like what the fuck works for you, and like what is that method that works. Is it writing shit down? Is it setting alarms? Is it I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
Is it calling your friend every day to give a recap? I don't know what it is, but like there's
Yeah.
something out there that works for everybody. You just gotta figure out what that piece is, and then it's like start fucking hammering it. Start fucking hitting
Yeah.
nails and hammering, building the house.
It's like that James Clear book where it pretty much comes down to like, and David Goggins talks about this a lot too. Like motivation is such a fleeting thing, and it's such like a in such a limited capacity that if you expect motivation to carry you through doing all the things you need to be consistent with, like you're going to fail every fucking time. The only thing that you can really do is like form habits by like rearranging your external stimuli. And it's like as simple as like, oh, if I want to run every day, like leave my running shoes by the door and it's a cue that I need to. It's like rearranging your own environment. That's why when we're on the road, think about how hard it is to like consistently, eat right, work out. And it's like because you have so many distractions and you're not like within your environment. Whereas like when I'm at my house, I see my dumbbells sitting on the fucking porch. You know what I mean? I see my running shoes by the door. Like it's easy to remind myself like what I need to do to fucking just kill his ass.
No, 100%. I mean, that's my biggest thing for me is like I can get in like these really, really good grooves. And then it's like I go away for 4 or 5 days and then I go to a festival or I go to visit friends back home. And that whole great routine I had going for the last 2 months gets disrupted. And then when I come back, like it can be fucking it's either I get back right back to it and there's no problem, or it takes me like a fucking 3 or 4 days of like moping around and doing nothing. And then to go, what the fuck am I doing? I was way happier when I was doing this other shit. So yeah, it's definitely like you said, it comes down to fucking the systems you can set in place. Like I know for me, like content wise and like putting shit out, like if I don't sit and do it on a day and then schedule it out or whatever I need to do, like it doesn't get done. So like for me, it's coming down to like I've realized that now. I'm like I need to fucking hunker down, set a day on the calendar. Okay, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. I'm sitting down and I'm doing it for the whole night, and that's it. Boom, done. Tuesdays, that's it. Tuesdays work, come home, do content, be done. Now I'm set for the week, and like that's what I'm gonna have to do because originally it was Sunday, and I started being gone every weekend, and then it's like, oh fuck, I can't do it Sundays anymore. Like
Yeah. Especially if you know you're going to be out of town. I think that's the problem with me is I have my hand in so many different pies that I'm like, I need to do this, 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 and this. And like the conveyor belt method works better sometimes, where like at the Ford factory, they're not like building, you know what I mean? They don't make the tires and then build the chassis and then like the axle and stuff like that all at the same time and then move on to another car. Like they're all like a group of people are all working on one part, like you're working on the next part. And like if you structure your week like that, like Monday I do outreach for my job, like or for my agency. Like Tuesday I build content and then schedule it out for the rest of the week. It's almost easier to do that, but it's so much harder for me to do that because I feel like I lose focus so much faster. Whereas like for me, it's so easy to like work on my agency for an hour a day because then I'm like focused for an hour. And then I'm like, okay, I want to work on a new thing, make content for an hour. But like it fucks me over in the long run, even though it's so much easier for me. Like it's so hard for me to sit down. Maybe I'm just ADD. It's so hard to sit down for 8 hours and just make content. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I want to take a break and work on
I think
whatever the
that's
fuck.
pretty normal for everybody though. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to sit down and do things, but that's where it gets really good is if you can block down to that like individual hour. And again, that comes down to like knowing you. Like, I know people that are ADHD as fuck, and it's like you talk to them and they're like, or people who say they're ADHD or something. Like, that's another thing is like, yes, there are fucking people with ADHD. There 100% are, but like, I struggle with focusing. I've never been diagnosed, and like, I probably could get Adderall and be fine and like whatever and zoned in. But like at the same time, I also know like there's certain things that if I do them in certain ways, I get shit done. And like again, it comes down to just knowing your fucking self. And like perfect examples, like I know somebody in college that like they just like couldn't focus. Like okay, cramming for an exam, perfect example. Like they could not like cram for exams, and some people can. Like that's the thing is, but they couldn't, and they were always trying. Like I'm gonna fucking cram. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get an A. 2 days before the exam, they're cramming all day, all night, 12 hours. Boom, they get a fucking D. Then they like switch it up and they realize that like if I study for a week in advance, even though that sucks, if I split it up, I do 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours every day, I get an A. It's like, boom, you just fucking learn something about yourself. Do that. Why would you ever cram again? Like, that's how I was in school. I couldn't fucking cram. Every time I crammed, I did horrible. But when I fucking spaced
Yeah.
it out, I did great. And like, I learned that. And again, that's just me learning. But like, did it suck? Sure, at times. But fucking gotta do what you gotta do if you want the fucking money at the end, pot of gold at the end
Yeah.
of the rainbow.
It's almost like unlearning and relearning is like more important than like learning in the first place, if that makes sense. Like there's so many like Do you follow Alex Hermosi at all?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar.
Though one of the things, dude, I've killed like 7 gnats since I've been here. I'm on fire. But one
I
of the
can
things Alex
I
Hermosi
can start
says, and
doing.
like Iman Gadzani says this a lot too, is like one of the biggest things between rich people and poor people. Like I know it's a generalization. It's not the things that they do; it's the things that they don't do. Like one of the biggest differences between like us and then maybe people that are more successful, it's that they've cut things out of their life that are no longer beneficial to them. It's not that they're adding all this extra stuff to their plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that they're cutting out a lot of the bullshit, which allows them more bandwidth to focus on a more, a more narrow set of topics.
And you could call it like cutting out, or it also could be like you go building to scale too, essentially. Like that
Oh
same
yeah,
business method of like, okay, things are starting to really grow and blah 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 blah. I don't have time to video edit, so I need to scale this out with somebody else and have them do it. And
yeah,
then
it's
you know,
leverage.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It comes like definitely both for 100%. It's definitely hard. I don't know about everything because I haven't run into like too much in life, but like cutting things out, trying to think like I don't know. The only thing I
I
could
do
cut out is
TV,
like
video games. Like,
oh
dude, I
yeah,
could think
yeah,
of a
yeah.
million
I
things.
didn't
Like,
think about
just
that.
like things that are wasting time. Like things that are wasting time. Like when you're doing something, like intentionally saying to yourself, like, is this getting me closer to my goals? And like, there's a completely different category. It's like, yeah, you do things to decompartmentalize and de-stress. Like, I have my own things. Maybe they're not like TV or video games, but like when you think about something like, is this part? Like, is this getting me towards my goal? And if not, then like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Whether that be, people or some useless like menial activity you do, like just scrolling on TikTok or
Yeah, I know me when I come home from work, if I sit on the couch, it's a wrap. I'm fucking like, I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm like this dumb ass
you turn into
American.
an NPC.
Dude, I literally like if I come home on the couch, it's done, dude. I don't do shit. But if I like put my laptop on the counter, I sit on the fucking counter chair and I start working, go good the whole fucking night. I did that today.
Inertia.
This morning. Dude, it is. I swear, I've been saying this for a minute, and I'm sure I'll harp on this again in the podcast. But like, there is no doubt in my mind that like how you start your day and then your job and blah 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 affects what you're gonna do at night. I can tell you
Oh
for
yeah.
100% like, and like, obviously like my situation, and I'm not gonna like boast it everywhere, but like I'm trying to leave the job I'm at right now, and like I know for a fact this job brings me and drags me the fuck down. Like when I go into the office for 3 days, I come home and I am just like drained. Like I have nothing left. And not in a sense of like I've done a lot during the day. It's like it's so shitty and boring and mundane for me that like it doesn't stimulate my brain to like keep going. But like whenever I have a busy day, which is like once a fucking month where I'm like fucking going for 8 hours, I come home and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we hitting next? And like, I don't know. Me personally, I like being in that zone of just like that flow state of just doing shit versus like, oh, I could do like, I don't know, like just perfect example is like when I have too much time on my hands, like I get to work like with this job, it's like I could do this or I could like I still have 4 hours to do it. So like I guess I'll just do
So
it
I'll do it later.
on the third hour. And like then I rush to do it, but then like I don't have any like momentum going anywhere else versus like if I was wanting to do and like doing projects like all day long or selling or talking to people all day long, it like carries over into the other shit.
Dude, it's funny because you always talk about how like that's how your job is, and dude, that's how like work has been for me right now. Just because like working in like e-commerce software, like it's so funny in every other sector of e-commerce, like Black Friday's like the Super Bowl, the fucking year. But when you work in software, even though people are doing like their budgeting for Q1, I know this is the most boring thing ever, but like no one is gonna. You know what I mean? No one's gonna change any fucking software implementations like before the biggest time of the year. So my days have been so like you said, just boring. It's not like I've been like doing shitty or it's like they've just been so like boring to where I get off work, it's like negative momentum. And it's like, yeah, I could have used all this time, but for whatever reason, I'm just like sitting around being like, oh, this is so weird. Like I can't fucking, get in touch with anybody. And then afterwards, it's like negative momentum. It's whereas if I had like a crazy cram busy day, even if it went shitty, I'm
Yeah.
like afterwards, I'm like, okay, I'm like in the motion, like keep it going. Cause oh yeah, I'm the same way. Like when I slow down, if I like fall into that like even though like I learn shit on there, I like the TikTok rabbit hole. I'll look at my phone and then like I check the time again. And it's like 2 hours later, and I'm like, bro, how did this happen? Like I just wasted so much time.
Yeah.
Even watching sports too.
Or I'll
That's
do
my
like
guilty.
I'll do like looking at shit on YouTube, like on the TV. Dude, that's then like the biggest thing for me now. I started watching YouTube on the TV instead of like my phone. And it's like, it's nice. I'll say that. But like, again, if I'm like come home from work and I pop it on and I'm laying on the couch, pour me a nice cup of sweet tea. I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, let me nap for like an hour. I'll do shit later. And then I wake up from the nap and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta cook. And then I cook and then I eat on the couch. And then I'm like, I'll just do it tomorrow. It's fine. Like it's cool. But yeah, some bullshit.
Dude, cooking has been such like a crazy like pattern interrupter for me. You know what I mean? Because I never used to cook. I used to eat out for every single meal. But like cooking habitually at the same time every single day has been like the biggest change. It's so weird for my productivity. Like it's just another like when you just like check off another thing for the day, like I said, like momentum. Like when I cook for like I'll cook lunch and dinner at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I'll cook my lunch and then save like the second
Lunch
half.
and dinner, even though you see that's where I do. I like
I
cook.
cook all three meals.
Interesting. I cook dinner and I make enough for lunch the next day, and that's how I do it.
Yeah, that's honestly probably better. It's just later in the day, I feel like I'm in more of a groove because like when I make breakfast, like breakfast isn't that hard to make. Like I'll fry like 3 eggs, you know what I mean, and make like protein
Yeah.
yogurt and like a protein shake or some shit like that. But I eat the same meal every single day, so it makes it easy for me to like
Psychotic.
I eat the exact same meal every single day.
Psychotic. That made me want to blow my head off. That sounds
The
horrible.
only thing I change are the peppers. I change the peppers every single
The
time,
peppers
and
are a
that's it.
game changer. I've been dabbling in the pepper industry lately, as of late, and it has been phenomenal. I love it now. I steam them with other mixed. So this week was the first week I did other mixed veggies. I'm not a big veggie person. I never have been, but I'm really getting into it now. And I steam them. So this week I did like green beans with peppers, steamed on the pan, put the lid over it, steam them, put some soy sauce on it, get some teriyaki in there, depending on what I'm cooking. And I had like steak and chicken with rice, peppers, and veggies all week. Oh, it's been delicious. Today I'm gonna
Yeah,
make some elk. I'm gonna get big out here today. Um,
dude.
we're
Even
on
the
that now.
vegetables are a scam. Vegetables are kind of a scam.
I mean, I only really like a few of them: rice,
I
corn.
meant like health wise. Like I think I think big vegetable has gotten one over on
We're
us.
gonna have to save big vegetable for next week, but I do want to know more about big vegetable. We're gonna write that one down. We're running in on our time here, unfortunately. But no, cooking's a game changer. Saves you money. Like, dude, if I eat in for the whole week, it's ridiculous how much money I save.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
by
yeah.
doing that small change. I will say though, when I'm bulking, very hard for me to not eat out like one meal still because something about like the portions, I maybe need to make more or something, or just I don't know, just not even that. For me, it's like the mix of flavor. Like I just need something different. I cannot do what you're doing. Like every day the
Mm,
same meal. Can't do. Like I gotta mix in a fucking fry or a chicken nuggets, like something different than like the same mundane chicken and steak. And I mean, I mix up the food for sure, but just like I need something like not home cooked.
yeah.
I
I'll
just
have a cheat meal like once a week, and it'll usually be like Chipotle. That's like the like I know it's not much of a cheat meal, but that's like my cheat meal is like Chipotle. But I won't get cheese.
hot
I won't
take.
get like salsa.
Hot take. Not a big Chipotle guy. I think it's
Oh, that's a L.
pretty
That's
average.
a yeah,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily about how good it is, even though I do think it's good. It's the fact that you get what you pay for. Like you get a shit ton of food. Like if you go in there and you go double white rice, double brown rice, and then you say, I want chicken. And then you wait for them to scoop it and pour it on. And then you go, actually, I want double chicken. And they've already, they've shown their hand by showing you the size of the first scoop. So now they have to, the second scoop they have to make it is as big as the first one, and then you get like 2,500 calories for like $10. Like there's this guy on TikTok that does the calories per dollar of every food. It's like Jack something on TikTok, and he's done the math, and the greatest calorie per dollar you can get besides Costco pizza, hot dogs, and sodas is the Chipotle bowl
All
with
right.
two side tortillas.
All right. I get in on that. I understand. I can get that. I can get that. Hmm. I'm not going Chipotle anytime soon, but I can understand why.
Qdoba is a close second too,
Qdoba is the
but
I like
yeah,
that way better. Qdoba
but
is where it's at.
that's enough. What time are we at?
For about 35 minutes.
And it still hasn't kicked us off yet.
Let me kick us off very shortly. So I think we call it.
Okay, so one thing I do want to say is that while we are going to figure out the name of the podcast soon, and we are going to have the corresponding like socials shit set up, and we're going to cut stuff to short form. So don't have anything to plug right now, but we're going to get that figured out. And we have our personal shit, but like he's Bab's life. I just changed mine to Ryseer, but I'm terrible at branding. I need to fucking
Make a whole new account and start over. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll get into that.
yeah.
All right. Well, dude, loved it. Fun podcast. Glad we got this on the books, and we'll get more coming up soon.
All right, Brody.
Peace,
Let's
my
do
boy.
this again.
Oh my god, I almost ended.